Well, you heard him. It's that simple. Know them and grow them. What's God asking you to do? Would you take just a moment and write down one thing that he's asking you to do and how to love your people better? As you finish up those thoughts, this is where your work begins. Kingdom Leadership Workshop. And so we're going to transition to a time of table talk. And it's going to be led by your table coach. Y'all are going to move away from this spot into a new spot that is going to be selected for you to go deeper into what we've been talking about. And so this is your opportunity to do that. As soon as your table talk is over, we're going to have a little break. After that break, we'll be in the first of 3 breakout sessions. So there are 3 breakout sessions. There are also 3 times. So you don't have to feel like you got to split up from your group. You could each go to all 3 of them. Okay? So we're going to be dismissed to your table talk time. We'll see you back in about an hour right in here in one of the breakout sessions.
Here's to the early mornings, the overcrowded calendars and mediocre office coffee, to every Christ follower leading a business wanting it to matter, to those wanting to climb something higher than the corporate ladder. When Jesus walked the earth, His holiness crashed into our humanity. He was in the marketplace more than in the temples. He worked as a craftsman and alongside fishermen, tax collectors, and politicians. 2,000 years later, we have divided what Jesus came to bring together. We label some things sacred and others secular. We send out missionaries and support pastors, but do we really think what we do on Monday morning matters? There is a holy weight of carrying Jesus into the marketplace. In the Bible, most people, they can be found working a 9 to 5. Deborah was a judge, David a king, Ezra was a writer, Esther a queen. Luke was a doctor, Peter a fisherman, Paul was a lawyer, Priscilla an artisan. The people who changed the world were in the marketplace, and all of history shifted when their lives crashed into God's grace. When Jesus preached the kingdom is at hand, He wasn't only speaking to the religious leaders. He actually handpicked businessmen and women and sent them out to heal the nations. When leaders truly believe this, it changes every deal they make. Every meeting they're in, the marketplace becomes God's ministry, and the unshakable kingdom advances from within. So we don't just need kingdom leaders in churches, but in families, education, and government. We need them in media, arts, and economics. So let's invite Him into our banks, schools, and small store retail, into our Fortune
15 and commit to a relational style. So ask God is this session, hearing from God. In the middle section, it will be building an aligned team. This is Willows 2. I'll be hosting this session, and we're going to talk about how you build a aligned leadership team. So that's the B, right? ABCs. Build an aligned leadership team. Session 3 in Willows 3 is commit to a relational style. So it's a relational leadership talk. It's a panel hosted by Casey Brewer, and that will be in Willows 3. Commit to a relational style. Ask God, build an aligned team, commit to a relational style. Okay? There's an unofficial fourth breakout. I just want to remind you, the prayer room is open. If you need time and you need to go ask the Lord about something, you need to talk to Him, or you need to invite somebody else to talk to Him with you, the prayer room is open and available for you. You can take that time, that whole hour, and spend time with God. It's there for you, so you're welcome to use it. I forgot to mention yesterday, we have 4 core values in our company. I won't go through all 4 of them, but we have an unofficial 5th. Anybody know what it is? Eating. How was breakfast? Delicious. Who had some juice? Fantastic. A lot of people. Just a note on the juice. Marcy Truby, who's sitting right here, raise your hand, Marcy. That was a labor of love, cold pressing all that juice yesterday. She made 4 gallons of each, which we thought was enough for both days. However, you guys enjoyed it so much that you drank it all today. So the juice is no more. But you can start juicing on your own. I just wanted to share that with you. So we're going to get started. We got a packed day, so I'm excited for you to hear from Cal Zant again about a kingdom style. So y'all enjoy this video, and then Cal will be up.
We've all heard the old adage, money doesn't grow on trees. It's kind of a tough idea to sell to somebody that owns an apple orchard like this one, though. Look, in order to make money, it takes work. But with work, the right work, comes profit. That's why businesses exist, to make money, right? As business leaders, we see a need in the marketplace. We create a good or a service to meet that need, market it, deliver it, and get paid to do so. I suppose that's why they call it a for-profit entity. Just like your business needs money to live, your body needs breath to live. So does that mean that you exist to breathe? What is God's highest purpose for your business? Could there be a higher priority than profit in your day-to-day marketplace existence? Think about the story of Jesus with the Samaritan woman at the well in John 4. By all accounts, Jesus never should have been there alone with that Samaritan woman. She was convinced that he was there for his own selfish reasons. But it doesn't take long for her to begin to believe that he's actually there for her benefit. He offers her a shot at life, living water. That's what he calls it. She asks, how can I get this living water? And the door for transformation is kicked wide open. What if relationship is a higher priority, a higher calling than profit? Jesus needed to go through Samaria for that woman's benefit and for the benefit of the whole town where she lived. He risked safety and reputation with one thought in mind. How can I make her life better? Not what's in it for me. This wasn't a transactional encounter. It was a relational one. Because a kingdom leadership style always values relationship as its highest priority. So here it is in a nutshell. The king has appointed you as steward over his business. That's a holy and sacred calling for which you have been and are being equipped. The highest priority in that calling is to love God and love man in everything you do. To properly steward the business that you've been entrusted with, you must put the betterment of people ahead of the pursuit of profit. Now that's a scary statement, but it's true. You'll be risking reputation and trusting God as your provider as you put a higher priority on the development of people, not as assets that you can exploit for company advancement, but as beloved children of the King that you've been assigned to love. It'll feel awkward and counterintuitive when you begin, but that's the nature of the kingdom. Things work in reverse. It won't happen as you figure out how to build a better human resource for the advancement of your cause. It'll happen face to face, one-on-one, when you begin to selflessly look beyond the circumstances of the person in front of you and see the potential of God within every individual you've been sworn to love. It really is this simple. A kingdom style is, above all things, relational.
I think Bill's video there did a great job introducing why we should have a relational style. But what in the world does that look like on a day-to-day basis, right? Yesterday we heard Walter talk about the ABCs, ask God to lead you, build an aligned leadership team. And I'm going to crack open that third one, commit to a relational style. First, you should know there aren't secret recipes. We wholly believe that God wants to interact with the people in your organization in a different way than he does people in our organization because they're different people. Like, he doesn't copy and paste. He personalizes, he wants to custom tailor what the kingdom breaking out in your organization looks like, and it'll look different than us. I actually believe that if somebody came and studied exactly how this works here and went back and really executed it in their organization, it would not work because there aren't secret recipes. The Lord wants us to ask him how this should work in our organization, but over the last 15 years, God has been progressively teaching us some things about what a kingdom style of leadership should look like, and I do believe there's some universal truths of what this would look like in our time, walking it out in a business or a nonprofit. Like, what would that relational style of leadership look like? And so I'm really excited to share some of that with you guys. And I'm just going to cut right to the chase. Here's what we believe. A leader's mission is to intentionally care for their people and raise them up to their God-given potential. That's what we believe a leader's job is. So there's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to, at least in this talk, I'm going to organize it into two different things. The first one is know them. Before I dive into what I mean by know them, I actually want to share some words of wisdom from this man, Ron Swanson. If you don't know who this is, you weren't one of the people that just laughed. He's a character on a TV show comedy called Parks and Rec, and Ron is a no-nonsense, like man's man. And so I want to show you this clip that shares a little wisdom from Ron.
What a gorgeous herbaceous medley.
There's been a mistake. You've accidentally given me the food that my food eats.
Salad is traditionally the first course at a wedding.
Is a gerbil marrying a rabbit? Any dog under 50 pounds is a cat, and cats are pointless.
Hey, if you see Andy, will you not tell him I'm here?
Okay.
Because of what happened, I don't want him to think...
Stop. Don't want to know. The less I know about other people's affairs, the happier I am. I'm not interested in caring about people. I once worked with a guy for 3 years and never learned his name. Best friend I ever had. We still never talk sometimes. Anne was getting a little chummy. When people get too chummy with me, I like to call them by the wrong name to let them know I don't really care about them.
All right, Ron might be the poster child of maybe the opposite of know them. In fact, it's funny how far away he is from that. But isn't it true that we could work with somebody for years and never really know them? Like our desk could be right by theirs, and do we really know them? Like, where'd they grow up? What are their hopes and dreams for the future? Maybe what are they dealing with at home right now? You know, as leaders, like, it's easy to be so distracted and busy with the daily whirlwind that we never really take the time to get to know our people. But if we're looking to make any kind of lasting impact, we have to know our people. When it comes to knowing your people and truly connecting with them, the first aspect of that is shoulder to shoulder. And when I say that, I mean being engaged with them in their work. It's important to understand that if you are a leader, you are in the people business. I'm actually not in the home building business. I'm in the people building business. Now, somewhere around here, someone is building a home today, but it's not me. I'm helping people who help people build homes. And it's easy for me to get that confused. My primary responsibility is building my team and helping the individuals on my team be successful at whatever their role is. That might sound really elementary, but I can get that backwards pretty easily. One day I got a really clear picture of this when I was out in the field walking home with one of our construction teams, and I'd like to show you an illustration. It's the picture I had in my head that helped me out. So here are a group of our builders, and the way we have it organized, each builder specializes and they're like responsible for a different area of construction. But at the very end of the home, they'll walk the home together to try to identify any punch items that we need to take care of. So they are all looking at the home, trying to figure out what, like maybe put the roof on or something. And then here is the construction manager, the guy in the blue hat. So he's alongside them, also looking at the home. That's the person leading them. And that might sound like a good thing, but it's actually a problem. The CM's primary responsibility isn't watching over the homes. It's actually watching over the team of builders. That's his primary role. But it's real easy for us to all look at the home as if that's the work we're doing. It should look like this, where the CM is watching a team and helping them watch over. He's trying to build great builders, and the builders are responsible for building great homes. And if you get this out of order, who would be watching over the builders? Everybody just starts staring at the homes, and it's really distracting, and nobody's helping people grow. And then here's a general manager. That's the person leading the construction manager. You know what's easy? For this to happen. We all look at the home and go, we're all building homes out here. But this is what it should be like. He's trying to help that construction manager be a better leader of builders. And then the construction manager is trying to help the builders be better builders, be successful in their role. And they so happen to be building homes. But that's not what the other guys or their primary focus should be. You know, being engaged isn't like a license to micromanage. And honestly, the result of this style should be less micromanaging and more empowering people. You're trying to help them do their job, not do a job through them or use them as tools to leverage. At the same time, you should be closely engaged with them. And we believe this close engagement style is core to what a relational style is. It doesn't mean you just send them off to do the job. It means you go with them. You're with them in that. You're helping them do it. But, the other half of know them is probably something you wouldn't read in a business book. Maybe you've heard some of this stuff before, but I'm going to call that heart to heart. Understanding who they are, both inside and outside in work. Our goal is to intentionally care for the whole person, all of them, like the professional part, the personal part, and even the spiritual part. We want to get to know the real them, not just the 8 to 5 them, like the whole them. Think about how much of your week is purely professional in nature, and then how much is more personal in nature. We all have like a ton of stuff going on in our personal lives, right? In fact, if I can't tell you 2 to 3 things going on in somebody's personal life right now, do I have a relationship with them? If I don't remember the names of their kids, do I have a relationship with them? There are various ways to connect, but we believe when it comes to connecting with individuals relationally, one of the most important tools in the toolbox is a one-on-one. And in our organization, how that plays out is that means every leader will have a 1-hour scheduled appointment on the calendar where they will meet with each of their direct reports once a week. That's how it works for us. It might be different for you, but I want to describe kind of what that looks like. Really, this side's specifically set aside to build rapport and deepen relationships with team members in an effort to know them. The truth is we can get really, really busy sometimes, and this is us making room on our calendar so that people feel seen and we know what's going on, like that to connect with somebody on a personal level. The most important conversations don't happen in a meeting or over email, so you need to make time for these things. Now, what a meaningful one-on-one looks like varies by the person. In fact, it might vary week to week with the same person. But we've learned there's like a few guidelines maybe we could share to set the table for an effective one-on-one. First, this time's all about them. And you can't read their mind or know what they want to talk about, so you should go into them without an agenda. Does that make any leaders in here sweat a little bit? Like you have a meeting on your calendar and there's no agenda for that. Like, how will that go? Remember, this is like a conversation. Really, it should be a conversation. You should be curious. You should ask them deeply profound questions, like, how are you? And really want to know, hey, what's been on your mind this week? How are things outside of work? Like, those are the important questions. And then have time for them to actually share that with you. And maybe you share what's going on in your life. It's okay to talk about both personal and professional things. Lots of people, though, because you know them at work, work is your common ground, and that will be the thing that's easiest for them to talk about. And so if you find that you're only talking about work stuff, did you realize you're ignoring a huge part of their life? Like, I would maybe one tip is to ask about their family by name, because when you ask about people's loved ones, it means a lot to them because they love them. And really, the more we acknowledge that our people have lives outside of work, the deeper our relationships with them will go. But when it comes to that spiritual aspect, so professional, personal, the spiritual, how does that work? We believe most of that cannot be manufactured. As a home builder, we'll close a little over 2,000 homes this year. And we love repeatable processes. Like, don't we, Corey? Like, that's like our thing. We love it. Excellence on demand. Like, that's how we think about it every time. That's not how this works at all. God doesn't do easy bake recipes. He wants us to ask the chef how this is supposed to work this time, every time. Trying to break this down into like repeatable steps for someone's spiritual growth will quickly lead to religion. But Jesus was relational. And some of our employees are way more comfortable talking about faith than others. Remember, not everybody here is a believer. That's something we're really passionate about. We don't want it to feel forced on them or like we have a hidden agenda that was never Jesus' style. But you can and should pray for them. As a leader, you should do that. You should ask God for a word for them. And if he does give you one, you should bring it to him. Almost 2 years ago, we restructured here like we're doing constantly. That's what happens in a growing organization. And 2 new people started reporting to me directly that I didn't really know that well. And they were pretty nervous about that. One of their names was Henry, and I was so excited to get to know Henry. And through our one-on-ones, I got to know Henry better and got to know where he grew up. And, his parents, they owned a local tamale shop when he was growing up, and he learned a lot from that. He had a big family. He still is very close with them. He loves to barbecue. His wife had just started a new travel agency. She was hiring employees. Like, I got to hear all the stuff going on in his life, and he is a great dad. I started praying for Henry right from the start, and I let him know that. I just let him know that I'd be praying for him. Over a few months, we had some conversations about faith, but it was never anything like I was driving there. Like today, I'm going to talk to him about. It was just it naturally came up. I was simply trying to get to know him and love him right where he was at. And as I prayed for him, I occasionally felt the Lord prompt me with something, and I tried my best to be obedient to that. Like one day, Henry was about to leave to go on a beach vacation with his wife. And as I was praying for him specifically, I felt like the Lord told me to give Henry a Bible.